Hello, I'm Average Joe. Welcome back to the world. We are back in the Eye Manor, and I am going to work on a new room. What room, you may ask? Well, the bathroom. Now, I don't have a solid plan for this. I've been running it through my head. I think I know what I want to do, but I don't think it'll be horribly interesting. And you know what? I've been going to a lot of different games for inspiration for stuff like this lately. I think this time I'm going to go to real life and try and figure out and get some inspiration. So, yeah. I'm gonna go to the bathroom really quick. Okay, now that that's done, I still don't have inspiration. But what I do have is the replay mod installed, and last time I tried this, the recording crashed. I thought about using the flashback mod, but that's made by the same guy who makes, or same team, I guess, that makes Axiom, and their whole EULA for a mod is the reason I have these here. And, like, Flashback doesn't have the same issues I had with Axiom, specifically a subscription service that may or may not be against Minecraft's EULA. In fact, the Flashback mod has a very simple license and doesn't even have an EULA. But just to be on the safe side, I'm giving Replay a second chance. If it fails, then I'm going to Flashback. Either way, I am rambling, so I'm just going to get started and make the bathroom. Obviously not all of it. I'm just going to make the room that the bathroom is in. Okay. First, I apologize for any noise in the background. It's hot, and this isn't my house, so I can't just turn on the air conditioning. So, windows open, fan is on. Second, And a little bit of background. If you know me, you know I am a very petty person. You also know that I hate change. So trust me when I say that I do not say this lightly, and I think I'm gonna stop using the replay mod. I know, I don't... As much as I do not care for the team behind the Axiom mod, that's specifically for their decision to do a subscription service on a Minecraft mod, and the Flashback mod has none of those issues. While I still have reservations, I just cannot get the hang of how the replay mod does its flying around thing. I don't understand why all of the positions need to be ease in and out. I just cannot get a smooth transition from it. Aside from that, there's another reason I have backed out of the time lapse, and that is because I can't figure out a spacing that works here. So I might build another tool for it. I know, I build tools for everything nowadays that I only ever use once. Aside from the fill, this has gotten a lot of use, but regardless, I want to potentially make something that'll put in these tick marks for me. Anyways, you can kind of see what I've been planning out here, specifically one massive toilet in the back of the bathroom. Also, a feature I find really interesting, unlike the other hallways, this hallway is straight, and directly behind the statue of the eye. So this peeper is peeping. No privacy in this bathroom. That is disgusting and gross. And so will this toilet be, if I ever get around to building it. Which hopefully I will. My end goal is to have this entire room done by the end of this episode. It's a bathroom. There shouldn't be a lot of decoration to it. Most of it's going to be on the toilet. So yeah. I want to make the roof here that really cheap panel roofing that you see in, like, government buildings, schools, that one grocery store downtown that has the worst manager you've ever worked for. Anyways, yeah, you know, that kind of thing. And, I want to use... I decided to use pale oak because that was the closest to the really grungy panels that I could think of, but I think using the stripped pale wood is definitely a mistake. I think using the regular pale oak would go better, because the separation between the tiles was always so much darker than the actual tiles, unless I am remembering incorrectly, which is incredibly likely. But I also think it'll add a bit of contrast to help show the separations in the tiles out better. The bathroom will be the only room that is not covered in eyes. It'll just have one peeking in from the door. You know, I'm really thinking maybe I should reconsider that. Anyways, on to the jump cut. Okay, so it's been a couple days since I was here, and I've been working on my new tools and everything, and I have been working more on the wireframe for the toilet. Now you may notice I actually did get a grid set up here. The tool works kind of. It needs a little bit more work, but I did manage to get a grid out of it, so that's fine. But this is the main feature. This is what I've been working on in deck. We have the bowl, we have the reservoir, we have the base, and this looks like a toilet. I do want to get some large cabinets in here, and maybe some smaller ones to make it seem like they were crushed by this toilet just becoming big and huge. And what I want to happen, right, is when players enter here, I want them to either go straight to the toilet, or go up on the counters and then onto the toilet. But no matter what, so every other room has had a second way out rather than in, and the second way out of the bathroom is, well, you know, down. And this is going to lead me to the basement. All of the rooms are going to lead to the basement. So if I go into the kitchen really quick, I have done some work on the kitchen. I've gotten a little path set out, and I've got the little cabinet things working as a path marker. I've got a separate path here. I've got some of them being crushed or covered in snow. But there is an exit, and this will be the exit for the basement here. And then the library has a way out over here past the little makeshift village here. And this is going to go to the basement too. The basement is essentially going to be how you get back to the hall and loop through the board again. I could have it so that the basement is just whoever gets to the end first wins. But then everyone would just take the toilet route first, because that is meant to be the fastest way through. The kitchen and the library are going to have little additional things you can do in there. The bathroom is just going to be, you go up, you get down. So that does mean I need to figure out where the basement is going to go. And I think it's going to go directly below here. Yeah, that seems like a plan. Basement is not going to be big, like, horizontally. It's going to be big vertically. It needs to be tall. I have plans for the basement. Now, like I said earlier, I did install the flashback mod, and I've tried it. It is way more complicated than the replay mod. And I like the simplicity of the replay mod, but the flashback mod seems to be just so much more versatile. So I think I'm going to stick with the flashback mod and just gonna have to deal with the learning curve. But yeah, I think I'm going to use that for another little time lapse for fleshing out the toilet. I have said that word so many more times than you should hear in a professional video, which I am trying to do, failing miserably. Right, so, I used the flashback mod for that time lapse, and I have to say it was way more user-friendly than the replay mod. I am definitely going to be using that well into the foreseeable future. I don't know if I will start Axiom or not. I think that's unlikely. I've kind of gotten used to just my own tools here. But, you know, we'll see. In other news, I am currently trying to add some detail to the cabinets here. I've added cabinet doors. I think I'm going to leave one of them open, maybe a way to parkour in there. Leave some stuff on the inside, bits like that. And yeah, definitely add some detail to this area over the coming weeks, months. I've got some time to work on it. Otherwise, everything seems to be going well. I have added some detail to the kitchen. Let me go and show you that. No, wait, did I already show you that? Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I showed you this already. Well, this is also still far from done. I do want to add more detail to this. And, to be honest, just adding little bits of detail over time is probably how all of this is going to get done. I don't think there's any more detail I need to add to the library, except maybe putting armor stands to represent people in there. Because this is pretty well detailed as is. Maybe not so much in the maze, but I don't think the maze should have a ton of detail anyways. If it gets too noisy, it's going to be difficult to remember where you are. If it's got very identifiable features, it's going to be too easy to figure out where you are. But yeah, I think the place I'm going to be living for the next month, I guess, is going to be in the bathroom here. I do have some other plans for here, though. See, every room in this build has been not just that room. The library is a living space, the kitchen is not just a place where you would... The kitchen is kind of an exception. So the kitchen is a place... In real life, a kitchen is a place where you would go and get food and cook food, and in this manor, it is a place where you go and get food, not necessarily cook food. You get stuff that's falling off of the ceiling and whatever, and maybe some fresh water out of the snow. But it's also kind of a disaster area. But that is basically all it is. Just a little wilderness to forage in. So we've got the safe space, we got the wilderness to forage in, and we have the bathroom area. And I'm not 100% sure what this bathroom is going to be. I did some brainstorming with my sister, that this could be a place where the people who live in the library grow crops and food. My initial idea is to have this area be kind of like a graveyard, or maybe some kind of like holy area, which... Porcelain throne. So, we'll see. I'll probably have some ideas in the next clip. I've got plenty of time to record this episode yet, surprisingly. But yeah, quite a bit done here. It's kind of nice having a day off of work. I can just work on whatever I want. Okay. I will admit, it's not too different from the last time I brought you guys into here. But this is the... and I'm pretty hesitant to say this, finished product of the bathroom. I put in a couple mirrors, towel hangers, and some sinks, and added where I think the spaces are going to go for this area. You may notice there's only 3 spaces as opposed to like the I don't know, a couple dozen or so in the other rooms. And that is because the point of this room is really just to get to the top here and go down the hole. That is all this room is going to be for base-wise. There's technically two other features that this room has, but I'll get to that in just a second. So, I tried to make it so that you can't parkour up to the top of the counter from the spaces here, and I think that was probably a mistake, because I want people to get up there now, so maybe I will fix that. But at the moment, the way you get up there is just this staircase in the back, and I don't like this. It's not really an elegant solution. It doesn't make the player feel clever for figuring out how to get up here. But if I did parkour from here to get up here, then there's not really a way for a player to figure out how to get over there. So the stairs kind of need to be there. I've thought of maybe like making a decoration a player could possibly climb up, like maybe a broom or a mop, and I just couldn't figure out where to put one that would make sense, that people could climb up. So in the end, we just have the stairs in the back there. Now, you may notice a little bit of a similarity between these two mirrors here, and I would like to clarify. These have the same kind of visual language, I guess, is the word, as the statues from the tutorial garden. See, we have a white statue with a pond in front of it, azalea leaves, and kind of gold around the bottom and stuff. And on the other side, we have a yellow statue with white in the pond in front of it and cherry leaves. And those are exactly the same as the two mirrors here. Well, maybe not exactly the same, but similar to the two mirrors here. You have a white one with yellow, with a body of water and the azalea leaves, and you have a yellow one with white, with a body of water and cherry leaves. Putting this together actually had me change a couple things in my tools, because apparently you need to specify when you're doing a command that those leaves will be persistent. I assume, unless you're filling them around like a log or something. Anyways, the two statues in the tutorial garden have a feature where they change coins from one kind to the other. So in the game we have iron and gold coins. It used to be that having both in your inventory would cancel the two out, and the iron coins would cancel out the gold coins would cancel out the iron coins, and that was to keep a similar mechanic as to Mario Party, where blue tiles would give you coins and red tiles take them away. Except in this game, I figure you should be able to go in debt. Red coins just give you the opposite of... Sorry, orange spaces just give you the opposite of the blue spaces. I decided not to do that anymore, and I figured we're just going to have two different coins for currency. They're not going to be quite equivalent in value. I'm going to have iron coins be used for cheaper items that have kind of more basic abilities, and gold coins are going to be for more expensive items that have more powerful abilities. Obviously, it's still going to be a good idea to buy the things with the iron coins, but they will be two different currencies for two different kind of flavors of items. Anyways, I'm rambling. The statues have the ability to change coins, and these have the ability to change coins as well. Now, if I used the right coin, you could probably see that better. See, now I have 2 iron coins. And the one over here does the exact opposite. That one turns gold to iron, this one turns iron to gold. And I made sure that it's exactly the same as the statues, because the yellow statue will change the yellow coins, I believe. No, the yellow statue will change the iron to yellow. The white statue will change the white to iron. The gold to iron. I'm sorry. It's been a bit of a stressful weekend. Not in a bad way, I'm just... It does not feel like I had a chance to rest at all. Lore-wise, the people of the library don't come in here. So, while the library has all of the little homes and bits and bobs of the people who live here, and the kitchen at least has a little bit of an outpost showing that they do occasionally come out here to collect things. The bathroom will not have those things, which actually poses a different problem of I'm not 100% sure how to properly detail these countertops. Like, maybe I could do some toiletries or something, like a toothbrush, a comb, or whatever. But otherwise, there's not a whole lot that can be added to this area. I did try to add some little puddles here and there. I might continue to add detail, but this is basically everything the bathroom is going to be. It really is meant to be more of just a transition to the fifth and final room, because I guess the hall technically counts as a room. The basement, which I will get to next month. For right now, though, I think I just need to take a break and rest. It doesn't seem like I'm doing that enough lately. So yeah, give me 1 second, I got a script for this now. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like. Maybe comment on what you think the basement is going to be like. I have plans, and I think it's going to be amazing. Although, after this area is done, I'm gonna try and move away from horror. It is starting to feel... not old, but I just need something different. If you want to see more of stuff like this, you should subscribe and ring the bell to get notifications whenever I put out a video. Although, it's just one at the end of it's just one episode at the end of the month. It's not going to be a lot, but it will be consistent. I'm trying to be consistent. But yeah, thank you, and I will see you all next time. I'm gonna take a nap. Agnes Reed was, against her parents' wishes, leaving the settlement. The border in front of her was marked by a line of armchairs with only a small gap representing the entrance to the makeshift village. The dim light of the library was supplemented by a pair of lamps flanking the entrance, illuminating the dozing face of the guard leaning against the haphazard barricade. The guard, Garrett, was an older man, about the same age as Agnes's parents. She knew him well, since he slept near her family's designated living area. He was kind, and would also have stopped Agnes from leaving if he was awake. Of course, Agnes knew he wasn't going to be awake tonight. Her mother had spent all day talking his ear off, and Agnes herself had been asking him questions all day. Agnes tiptoed up to Garrett, casting a quick glance up at his face to make sure he was asleep. Satisfied, she started making her way past the bookshelves toward the entrance to the library. She needed to be quick. She didn't know when her parents would wake up, but she knew she'd be in big trouble if and when they found out. Agnes stepped into the hallway out of the library and stopped. The halls of the manor were the only places where the eyes couldn't see you, and Agnes had never been in one. All at once, she realized that there had been an oppressive weight on the back of her neck up until she had entered the hallway. Agnes giggled nervously before continuing down the hall. She felt light, lighter than she ever had before, but she wanted to explore the world she had found herself in, and she couldn't do that in the hallway. Her home before the manor had been a quiet little town. She remembered it being lovely and bright and full of people. She remembered how the soft green grass felt under her feet as she ran with her friends. She remembered the smell of the oven as her grandma got ready to bake. The last thing she remembered was having an argument with her best friend. Agnes stumbled just before stepping out of the hallway. She remembered having a shouting match with her friend Bridget just outside of the local farm. Agnes's favorite skirt had gone missing, and she accused Bridget of taking it. Bridget fiercely denied it, and they ended up shouting at each other after getting out of school. Agnes shook away the memories. There wasn't any time to think about that. She took a step, feeling that oppressive weight again, and quickly forgetting about her friend as she took in the view in front of her. She was standing in a room smaller than the library, but no less expansive. Wandering further in, she took in the huge statue on her left, wondering how it could possibly stay up on such a thin strip of metal. On her right was a massive door, so big and heavy looking that Agnes doubted it would open even if everyone in the settlement helped. A gentle blue light illuminated the room from the center. Agnes looked up and saw the biggest, fullest moon she had ever seen in her life. Agnes didn't know how long she'd been in the manor. Her parents always said it had been some number of years, but she hadn't seen the moon in all that time. It was refreshingly familiar, even if it was through a giant window in the ceiling. A faint sound of footsteps stole Agnes's attention away from the moon. Someone was coming down the stairs from the balcony. Immediately, Agnes turned to go back to the hallway, but stumbled. The oppressive force pressed down on her, forcing her to her knees and keeping her from moving. The footsteps came closer, and soon a man was standing in front of her. The man was strange. His skin was white and layered strangely, like he was wrapped up in layers of torn paper. Words and sentences were scattered over his skin, with names that Agnes recognized, and even her own. His clothes were torn and wet, and hung loosely off his bony frame. He leaned down and examined her face. "Well, aren't you a curious one?" he said, as if he was addressing a new butterfly he found. Agnes wondered, for a moment, if she would end up pinned on a board. "I remember this one," the man continued. "She called her friend a thief. Thought she stole something of hers. A skirt, was it? Very interesting. A perfect copy." Agnes trembled under the weight on her back. She didn't want this. She didn't know who this man was or why he knew about her argument, but she wanted to get up and run and forget about all of this, and she just wanted out and to get away. "Ah, he's seeing through you now? Perfect." The man grabbed Agnes's hair and yanked her head up to his face. His breath smelled like rot and bad memories, and his eyes dug into her, and she just wanted to get out and get away, and she was so tired. The man looked directly into her eyes. "You know what I want, and you know what to do, but then, you know everything, don't you?" Agnes didn't know what the man was talking about, and she didn't want to. She regretted ever leaving the library, and she just wanted to go back, and she was crying, and she couldn't stop. There was a metallic thwack, and the sound of glass shattering, and the man dropped to the floor. Behind him stood Garrett, wielding one of the lamps from the settlement, now with a broken bulb. Garrett took Agnes's hand and pulled her towards the hallway that led back to the library, saying nothing. When they got back, Garrett sat Agnes down on one of the chairs and fussed over her, checking her over and making sure she was okay before taking the girl in a hug, gently patting her on the back as she cried into his shoulder. Overwhelmed, Agnes asked the first thing that came to her mind. "What did you do?" "Something foolish but necessary," came the reply. "Agnes, what were you thinking?" "I just wanted to explore," Agnes said. "You and the others always come back fine when you go out, so I thought it would be okay." Garrett sighed, then gently pulled Agnes off of him. "Agnes, this place is dangerous. Even this library can be dangerous if we're not careful. Promise me you won't do that again." Agnes nodded. "Never again," she confirmed. "But, are you going to tell my parents?" "No," Garrett said. "Because you will." Agnes nodded again. "Yes, sir."